In 2026, one Florida town will see home prices collapse by 10%, and they're not telling you which one. Another city in the Rust Belt is practically giving away houses for under $80,000, while others are watching their real estate empires crumble in real time. But here's what nobody's saying. This isn't random. This is the silent economic reset no one saw coming. Real talk. 90% of people will watch this, scroll away, and wonder why they're still overpaying rent in 2030. Subscribe if you're not that person. If you actually want to spot opportunities before they vanish, protect your wealth, and get ahead of the housing collapse reshaping America, that button is your only lifeline. Hit it. On the surface, this looks like market corrections, local slowdowns, or just unlucky towns. But look closer and you'll see something far bigger. A nationwide wealth transfer triggered by collapsing demographics, pandemic exodus reversals, insurance nightmares, climate risks, and cities bleeding residents faster than they can count. What you're about to see isn't just real estate data, it's a roadmap to the next decade of American economics. Today, we're breaking down 25 American towns where home prices are secretly dropping to nothing in 2026. From Florida's collapsing coastal markets to Rust Belt cities selling houses cheaper than used cars. And trust me, number one is so cheap, you could buy 3 houses for the price of a down payment in California. This is the housing correction nobody's advertising. Why is this happening now? Simple. The pandemic housing frenzy is officially over. Mortgage rates are stuck around 6.3%, inventory is flooding back, Florida's insurance crisis is scaring buyers away, and remote workers who fled to small towns, they're returning to cities. Add collapsing birth rates, aging populations, and economic stagnation in certain regions, and you get what we're seeing. America's great housing correction of 2026. Some towns are offering dirt-cheap homes out of desperation. Others are watching decades of growth evaporate. Welcome to the other side of the boom. Number 25, Stockton Lodi, California. California isn't supposed to be cheap, but Stockton didn't get the memo. Once a booming agricultural hub in the Central Valley, Stockton is now watching home prices slide as buyers realize they can get better deals elsewhere in the state without the crime reputation. Population sits around 320,000 metro, with a projected 2026 price drop of 3.1%. Median home price is still around $450K but falling fast. Crime is notoriously high. Job market centers on agriculture, logistics, and warehousing. Here's the twist. Stockton once declared bankruptcy in 2012, and some say the ghost of that crisis still haunts property values. Real talk from residents. I bought in Stockton thinking I got a California deal. Turns out I just bought California problems at a discount. You know your California town is struggling when people would rather live in Bakersfield. Let that sink in. Picture this. You're living 90 minutes from San Francisco, paying half the price, but also checking your Ring camera every 20 minutes. Would you take the California gamble in Stockton? Yes or no? Drop it below. Number 24, Spokane. Valley, Washington, the Pacific Northwest. Darling that nobody wants anymore. Spokane exploded during the pandemic as remote workers fled Seattle's chaos. Now they're realizing winters are brutal and jobs are scarce if tech goes south. Population stands at 570,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 3.8%. Median home price is $420K and dropping. Cost of living runs 6% below national average. Job market focuses on healthcare, education, and logistics. The twist? Spokane has more sunshine than Seattle, but somehow feels gloomier. Residents share, moved to Spokane for cheap living and fresh air, got cheap living and seasonal depression. Spokane is what happens when you want Seattle vibes on a Boise budget but end up with neither. Imagine, you bought your dream home with a mountain view, but you're snowed in for 4 months wondering why you left the city. The natural beauty is undeniable, but the isolation hits different when winter settles in. Spokane. Hidden gem or frozen regret? Tell me below. Number 23. Omaha Council Bluffs, Nebraska, Iowa. Warren Buffett's hometown can't save its own housing market. Omaha is stable, affordable, and quietly boring. It attracted Midwestern loyalty and remote workers during COVID. Now inventory is piling up as people realize you still need to live in Omaha. Population reaches 970,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 2.4%. Median home price sits around $280K. Cost of living is 9% below national average. Job market thrives on insurance, agriculture, and telecom, with Berkshire Hathaway as the crown jewel. The twist? Omaha has one of the best zoos in America because there's not much else to do. Residents admit, "I respect Omaha, I just don't want to live there." Omaha is where your retirement account thrives, but your social life dies. Picture this. You're financially secure, your kids go to great schools, and you're bored out of your mind every Friday night. The Midwest stability is real, but so is the cultural void. Would Buffett's backyard be your next move? Yes or no? Number 22. Boise City, Idaho. The pandemic's hottest market is officially cooling off. Boise was the migration destination from 2020 to 2022. Californians, Oregonians, and Washingtonians flooded in. Now locals are priced out, newcomers are leaving, and prices are finally correcting. Population stands at 760,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 0.8%. Median home price is still around $500K, down from peak. Cost of living is rising faster than wages. Job market centers on tech, healthcare, and government. The twist? Boise was supposed to be the affordable alternative, until it wasn't. Residents lament, "Moved to Boise to escape California prices. Now I'm paying California prices in Idaho." Boise is where Californians go to complain about other Californians. You escape the Bay Area for mountain living only to find your neighbor did the exact same thing and drove up your property taxes. The outdoor recreation is phenomenal, but the affordability promise has vanished. Boise bust or still worth it? Drop your take. Number 21. Tucson, Arizona. Arizona's second city is getting left behind. While Phoenix booms and busts, Tucson stays stuck in neutral. It's hot, it's dry, and it's cheap, but that's not enough anymore. Population sits at 1.1 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 0.5%. Median home price is around $340K. Cost of living runs 6% below national average. Job market relies on University of Arizona, defense, and tourism. The twist? Tucson has 350 days of sunshine, which sounds great until you realize it's 110 degrees for half of them. Residents say, Tucson is perfect if you like heat, retirees, and absolutely nothing happening after 9 p.m. Tucson is Phoenix's weird cousin who still listens to vinyl and talks about the vibe. Picture affordable desert living, stunning sunsets, and the existential dread of another 100-degree day in May. The Sonoran desert beauty is real, but so is the economic stagnation. Tucson. Underrated or just under everything? Comment. Number 20. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Military town meets mountain prices, and it's not working. Colorado Springs boomed as Denver got too expensive. But now, it's facing its own affordability crisis while prices start to slip. Population reaches 760,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 0.4%. Median home price sits around $475K. Cost of living is 5% above national average. Job market is dominated by military installations like Fort Carson and Peterson Space Force Base, plus defense contractors. The twist? You're paying Colorado prices without Colorado's legal weed culture because military town vibes are strong. Residents note, love the mountains, hate the traffic, tolerate the military haircuts everywhere. Colorado Springs is where you pay Boulder prices to live next to an Air Force base. Imagine Pikes Peak in your backyard and a housing market that's quietly giving up. The outdoor access is incredible, but the military dominance shapes everything. Colorado Springs, hidden gem or overpriced base town. Number 19. Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa's capital is stable, boring, and slightly sinking. Des Moines has always been the safe Midwest choice. But as remote work fades and young people leave for bigger cities, home prices are slipping. Population stands at 710,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 1.8%. Median home price is around $205K. Cost of living runs 10% below national average. Job market focuses on insurance, finance, and agriculture. The twist? Des Moines consistently ranks as one of the best places to live if you're 50 plus. Residents joke, Des Moines is great for raising kids and dying of boredom. Des Moines is the city equivalent of oatmeal, reliable, wholesome, and nobody's excited about it. Picture great schools, safe streets, a stable job, and weekend plans that involve Costco runs. The practicality is unmatched, but the excitement is non-existent. Des Moines, smart move or slow death? You tell me. Number 18, Raleigh, North Carolina. The South's hottest market is losing steam. Raleigh was the relocation destination for the past decade. Booming tech sector, research triangle, affordable living. But now, inventory is flooding in and prices are correcting. Population reaches 1.5 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 3.7%. Median home price sits around $425K and falling. Cost of living is near national average. Job market thrives on tech, research, healthcare, and education. The twist? Raleigh grew too fast. Infrastructure and housing supply couldn't keep up. Residents complain, moved to Raleigh for the jobs, stayed for the traffic and rising rent. Raleigh is where you moved for Southern charm and got California traffic instead. You bought at the peak thinking you'd ride the wave, and now you're watching Zillow estimates drop monthly. The tech opportunities remain strong, but the affordability advantage is disappearing. Raleigh, still the future or already the past? Number 17, Denver, Aurora, Lakewood, Colorado. Mile-high prices are coming back down to earth. Denver exploded as a top-tier city for young professionals and outdoor lovers. But rising costs, housing shortages, and a slight exodus are cooling the market. Population stands at 3 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 1.4%. Median home price is around $575K. Cost of living runs 12% above national average. Job market centers on tech, aerospace, cannabis, and tourism. The twist? Denver's homeless crisis and downtown decay are scaring off new buyers. Residents admit, came for the mountains, left because I couldn't afford rent and a ski pass. Denver is where everyone's an outdoor enthusiast who can't afford to go outside. Picture. You're living the Colorado dream in a $2,500 per month one-bedroom with a view of a parking lot. The mountain access and cultural scene are exceptional, but affordability has become a cruel joke. Denver. Worth the hype or overhyped? Number 16. Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roswell, Georgia. The South's economic engine is sputtering. Atlanta has been a relocation magnet for black professionals, corporations, and film production. But now, overbuilding and market saturation are causing a slight price dip. Population reaches 6.1 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 0.1%. Median home price sits around $380K. Cost of living is 3% above national average. Job market features film production, logistics, and corporate headquarters like Coca-Cola, Delta, and Home Depot. The twist? Atlanta has some of the worst traffic in America, and it's only getting worse. Residents joke, Atlanta is where your commute is longer than your lunch break. Atlanta is the only city where you can live 15 miles from work and still need a podcast library to survive the drive. Imagine a booming job market, diverse culture, affordable suburbs, and spending 90 minutes in traffic daily. The economic opportunities are real, but so is the infrastructure nightmare. ATL, still the move or traffic nightmare? Let me know. Number 15, Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, Washington. The Emerald City's shine is fading. Seattle's tech boom made it unaffordable for a decade. Now layoffs, remote work shifts, and rising costs are pushing people out and prices down. Population stands at 4 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 0.3%. Median home price is around $750K. Still insane but dropping. Cost of living is 50% above national average. Job market features tech giants like Amazon and Microsoft, aerospace with Boeing, and healthcare. The twist? Seattle's homeless crisis and downtown decay are worse than ever. Residents confess, love Seattle, hate Seattle rent, hate Seattle rain, hate Seattle traffic, but love Seattle. Seattle is where you pay $3,000 per month for a studio apartment and 9 months of gray skies. Picture, tech salary, coffee culture, mountain views, and seasonal affective disorder. The Pacific Northwest beauty can't overcome the affordability crisis and urban decay. Seattle tech dream or overpriced rain cloud? Number 14. Sacramento, Roseville Arden Arcade, California. California's affordable capital isn't so affordable anymore. Sacramento became the Bay Area escape hatch during COVID. Now prices are correcting as people realize it's still expensive and it's still Sacramento. Population reaches 2.4 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 3.3%. Median home price sits around $525K and falling. Cost of living is 20% above national average. Job market centers on state government, agriculture, and healthcare. The twist? You're paying $500,000 to live in a landlocked valley with 105-degree summers. Residents lament, moved to Sacramento to escape Bay Area prices. Now I'm paying Bay Area prices in a worse city. Sacramento is what happens when you want California vibes, but end up with government bureaucracy and strip malls. Imagine, you bought at the peak thinking you got a deal, and now you're sweating in triple-digit heat watching your equity evaporate. Sacktown, smart investment, or capital mistake? Number 13. San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward, California. The Bay Area is finally seeing price drops. San Francisco's tech dominance kept prices sky-high for years, but layoffs, remote work, crime, and exodus trends are cracking the market. Population stands at 4.7 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 2.5%. Median home price is around 1.3 million. Yes, really. Cost of living is 80% above national average. Job market thrives on tech, finance, and biotech. The twist? Even with a price drop, you still can't afford it. Residents joke, San Francisco is where a two-bedroom condo costs more than a mansion in Texas. The Bay Area is proof that you can have world-class innovation, culture, and weather, and still be miserable because rent is $4,500. Picture tech money, stunning views, gourmet food, and stepping over homeless encampments daily. The contradiction between wealth and urban decay is stunning. Bay Area, worth the price or overpriced nightmare? Number 12. Phoenix Mesa, Scottsdale, Arizona. The desert boom is officially busting. Phoenix was the pandemic's biggest winner. Cheap, sunny, no income tax. Now water shortages, extreme heat, and overbuilding are spooking buyers. Population reaches 5 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 2.3%. Median home price sits around $465K. Cost of living is 8% above national average. Job market focuses on healthcare, tech, logistics, and tourism. The twist? Phoenix is literally running out of water, and nobody wants to talk about it. Residents admit Phoenix is great until you realize summer lasts 8 months and your AC bill is $400. Phoenix is where you trade California taxes for 120-degree heat and existential climate dread. Imagine, affordable desert living, no snow, booming economy, and scientists warning the whole region might be uninhabitable in 30 years. The short-term growth is real, but the long-term sustainability questions are terrifying. Phoenix, smart bet or climate gamble? Number 11. Lakeland Winter, Haven, Florida. Florida's forgotten market is quietly collapsing. Lakeland sits between Tampa and Orlando, benefiting from neither. It boomed during COVID, but is now seeing prices drop as insurance costs and hurricane risk scare buyers. Population stands at 725,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 4.2%. Median home price is around $325K and falling fast. Cost of living is 5% below national average. Job market relies on logistics with Publix headquarters, agriculture, and retail. The twist? Lakeland has more lakes than residents have flood insurance. Residents warn, bought in Lakeland for cheap Florida living? Now I'm one hurricane away from bankruptcy. Lakeland is where you save money on your mortgage just to lose it all in insurance premiums. Picture, affordable Florida home, palm trees, sunshine, and an insurance company ghosting your renewal. The small-town charm can't overcome the climate reality. Lakeland, hidden gem or hurricane trap? Number 10. Palm Bay, Melbourne, Titusville, Florida. Space Coast prices are crashing back to Earth. This Florida metro benefits from SpaceX and defense jobs, but insurance nightmares and hurricane risk are tanking the market. Population reaches 610,000, metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 4.1%. Median home price sits around $340K. Cost of living is 3% below national average. Job market focuses on aerospace with SpaceX, NASA, and defense contractors. The twist? You can watch rocket launches from your backyard if your house survives hurricane season. Residents note, living near SpaceX is cool until your homeowner's insurance gets canceled. Space Coast is where your dreams launch into orbit while your property value crashes into the ocean. Imagine rocket launches, beach access, aerospace jobs, and mandatory hurricane shutters you install twice a year. The novelty of space industry proximity wears thin when facing climate vulnerability. Space Coast, final frontier or financial mistake? Number 9. Orlando, Florida. Disney's backyard is losing its magic. Orlando thrived on tourism and remote workers, but insurance costs, overcrowding, and corporate pullbacks are cooling the market. Population stands at 2.7 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 4.5%. Median home price is around $385K. Cost of living is 2% above national average. Job market depends heavily on tourism with Disney and Universal, hospitality, and logistics. The twist? Orlando's entire economy depends on people willing to pay $200 to stand in line for 4 hours. Residents complain, moved to Orlando for the sunshine, stayed for the traffic and tourist hell. Orlando is where you live in a theme park economy and wonder why nothing feels real. Picture year-round warmth, entertainment jobs, suburban sprawl, and bumper-to-bumper traffic filled with rental cars. The tourism monoculture creates economic fragility that residents are now feeling acutely. Orlando, magical or just Mickey Mouse economics? Number 8. Deltona, Daytona. Beach Ormond Beach, Florida. Daytona's spring break. Glory days are long gone. Daytona was cheap beachfront living. Now it's cheap because nobody wants beachfront living when insurance costs more than your mortgage. Population reaches 680,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 3.6%. Median home price sits around $310K. Cost of living is 5% below national average. Job market relies on tourism, retail, and healthcare. The twist? Daytona Beach is famous for two things, NASCAR and spring break. Both peaked in the 90s. Residents joke, Daytona is where your neighbors are retirees and your insurance agent is a ghost. Daytona is Florida's midlife crisis, stuck between its glory days and accepting reality. Picture, affordable beach town, ocean breeze, NASCAR culture, and an insurance bill that makes you reconsider everything. The nostalgia can't save the economics. Daytona, beach bargain or insurance nightmare? Number 7. Jacksonville, Florida. Florida's largest city is losing the affordability war. Jacksonville was the smart Florida move. Big city amenities, no state income tax, affordable. But insurance costs and market saturation are pushing prices down. Population stands at 1.6 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 4.8%. Median home price is around $350K. Cost of living is near national average. Job market features military presence with Naval Station Mayport, logistics, and finance. The twist? Jacksonville is geographically the largest city in the U.S. by area, which means sprawl, traffic, and hurricane exposure. Residents note, Jacksonville is Florida without the tourists, also Florida without the appeal. Jacksonville is what happens when you try to be a real city but end up as Florida's largest suburb. Picture, no state income tax, military town stability, beaches nearby, and a hurricane track record that keeps insurance agents up at night. Jax, underrated or just under everything? Number 6. Tampa's Tea. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida. Tampa Bay is the epicenter of Florida's housing correction. Tampa boomed harder than almost any U.S. city during COVID. Now, reality is setting in. Insurance is unaffordable. Hurricanes are frequent and prices are dropping. Population reaches 3.3 million metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 5.6%. Median home price sits around $395K and falling fast. Cost of living is 5% above national average. Job market features healthcare, finance, tourism, and military presence at MacDill Air Force Base. The twist? Tampa has been hit by multiple major hurricanes in 3 years, and the big one hasn't even happened yet. Residents warn, move to Tampa for the dream. Now I'm living the Florida nightmare of canceled insurance and hurricane prep. Tampa is where you bought at the peak, and now you're praying to the hurricane gods. Picture: beautiful waterfront home, vibrant city culture, no income tax, and an insurance premium that costs more than your mortgage. Tampa, Florida dream or climate trap? Tell me. Number 5. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Tobacco money is long gone, and so are the buyers. Winston-Salem is cheap, like really cheap. But there's a reason: declining industry, aging population, and limited job growth. Population stands at 680,000 metro. Median home price is around $215K and dropping. Cost of living is 8% below national average. Job market centers on healthcare, education with Wake Forest University, and manufacturing. The twist? You can buy a house for under $150K if you're okay with living in Tobacco Town's retirement phase. Residents admit Winston-Salem is where you can afford a house but can't find a job to pay for it. Winston-Salem is what happens when a city's entire identity was cigarettes and nobody smokes anymore. Picture: cheap southern charm, historic homes, sweet tea, and a job market stuck in 1985. The affordability is real, but so is the economic stagnation that created it. Winston-Salem, affordable or just forgotten? Number 4. Northport Sarasota Bradenton, Florida. Florida's second biggest housing collapse is happening right now. This Gulf Coast metro was a retiree and investor paradise. Now it's ground zero for Florida's insurance crisis and climate reality check. Population reaches 900,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 8.9%. Median home price sits around $425K and plummeting. Cost of living is 5% above national average. Job market focuses on tourism, healthcare, and real estate. The twist? This area was hit by Hurricane Ian and multiple other storms, and insurance companies are fleeing faster than residents. Residents lament, bought in Sarasota thinking I'd retire in paradise. Now I'm just hoping to sell before the next hurricane. Sarasota is where your retirement dream becomes a climate change case study. Picture: white sand beaches, upscale living, golf courses, and a real estate market collapsing in slow motion. The lifestyle amenities can't overcome climate and insurance realities. Sarasota area, worth the risk or sinking ship? Number 3. Cape Coral Fort, Myers, Florida. The nation's biggest price collapse is happening here. Down 10.2% in 2026, Cape Coral Fort Myers was the poster child for Florida's boom. Cheap land, canal living, sunshine. Then Hurricane Ian hit in 2022. Insurance companies fled, and the market is now in freefall. Population stands at 810,000 metro with a projected 2026 price drop of 10.2%, the largest in the nation. Median home price is around $380K and dropping hard. Cost of living is 2% above national average. Job market relies on construction, tourism, retail, and healthcare. The twist? Cape Coral has more miles of canals than Venice, Italy, and more hurricane damage too. Residents warn, bought my dream canal home in Cape Coral in 2021, it's now worth $80K less and uninsurable. Cape Coral is where you bought waterfront property and got way more water than you bargained for. Picture this: your own private dock, year-round sunshine, affordable paradise, and a FEMA flood map that makes you want to cry. Cape Coral, America's biggest housing mistake of 2026. Number 2. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is the most affordable major city in America with homes under $90K. Detroit has been cheap for decades, but 2026 is different. The city is seeing renewed investment, but prices are still rock bottom. You can buy houses for less than a used car. Population stands at 4.3 million metro. Median home price is $87,000. Some homes are selling for under $10K in distressed areas. Cost of living is 15% below national average. Job market centers on the auto industry with Ford, GM, and Stellantis, plus tech and healthcare. The twist? Detroit is simultaneously one of the most affordable and most dangerous major cities in America. Residents admit, bought a house in Detroit for $60K. spent $40K fixing it. Now it's worth $65K. Detroit is where you can afford a house but not the insurance, taxes, and security system. Imagine historic architecture, cultural renaissance, auto industry legacy, and entire neighborhoods still abandoned from 2008. Detroit, America's comeback story, or still too risky? You decide. Number 1. Gary, Indiana. The cheapest city in America with a median home price of $79,000. Some homes are selling for $5,000. Gary, Indiana is the cautionary tale of American industrial collapse. Once a thriving steel town with 180,000 residents, it's now down to 69,000 with entire blocks abandoned. Home prices aren't just dropping, they're practically non-existent. Population sits at 69,000, down from 180,000 in the 1960s. Median home price is $79,000. Homes are available for as low as $5,000 to $7,000. Cost of living is 30% below national average. Median household income is $31,315. Crime rate is among the highest in the nation. Job market is nearly non-existent since the steel industry collapsed decades ago. The twist? Gary is only 30 miles from Chicago. You can see the skyline from the lakeshore. Residents say, Gary is where dreams go to die, but hey, at least housing is cheap. Gary makes Detroit look like Dubai. This is the town where you can buy a house for the price of a PlayStation 5 and still wonder if you overpaid. Picture this. You buy a 4-bedroom house for $60,000. You're 30 minutes from Chicago's skyline, right on Lake Michigan. Then you realize there are no grocery stores, the schools are failing, crime is rampant, and your neighbors are mostly ghosts of Gary's past. Gary is a haunting reminder of what happens when industry dies and government fails. It's cheap because nobody wants to live there. But for investors with vision and risk tolerance, it's also one of the last true ground floor opportunities in America. Would you take the Gary gamble for $79K, or is some cheap too cheap? Drop it below. If you're still here, you're now smarter than 99% of people blindly Googling cheap places to live. You just watched Florida's insurance apocalypse unfold in real time and learned that you can literally buy a house in Gary, Indiana for the price of a used Honda. Wait till you see what's coming next. Whether a town is giving away homes for pennies on the dollar or watching prices collapse under the weight of insurance, climate risk, and population decline, every one of these 25 places is responding to the same pressure. A country where housing, demographics, and economic reality are colliding faster than anyone predicted. Florida is learning that sunshine doesn't pay insurance premiums. The Rust Belt is still paying for industrial collapse from 50 years ago. And the pandemic winners? They're realizing the party is over. This isn't just about real estate. This is about the future of American cities. Some of these towns will adapt and survive. Others will become the next generation of ghost towns. The question is, which ones can you spot before everyone else? Because in economics, timing isn't everything. It's the only thing. And right now, 25 American towns are screaming the same message. The housing market you thought you knew is gone. What replaces it will reshape wealth, migration, and opportunity for the next decade. If you found this eye-opening, hit subscribe because next week we're covering the countries offering free citizenship, the cities secretly restricting cash, and the nations quietly collapsing in slow motion. This is World Economics Explained, where we connect the dots everyone else ignores. Drop a comment telling me which town shocked you the most. And if you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person who needs to be subscribed. See you in the next one.